What is up, everybody? In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the mindset methods that we use to get our busy professionals over the age of 40 rowing to the best versions of themselves without having to waste their time and without having to fucking destroy their health. I forgot what the end of that little catchphrase was. Anyways, so we talk a lot about mindset in our content, and mindset's a massive thing for us. And when we talk about mindset, we don't mean, oh, I'm lazy, oh, I can't be arsed. It's more about performance mindset and just how do you channel your drive, your focus, your intentions in the right way? How do you handle nerves, anxiety? How do you learn to push yourself harder? How do you improve your focus? And what we always say is there's two types of rowers out there. The ones that admit that they can improve their mindset and the ones that are lying to themselves, or I guess are ignorant. So, most important thing by far is working on your mind and training your mind. And in today's video, we are going to be breaking down the steps that we use when we're coaching our athletes. And the common issues that they face are the ones I just listed. They're all very driven. They're often very successful in their careers. But when it comes to the rowing side of it, they just don't know how to handle the kind of issues that they have, and some of the strengths that they have in their career or other areas of life cause them issues when it comes to rowing. So we'll just be breaking down how you can go through step by step to train your mind, to also just it will improve your performance, but enjoy your training more and learn skills that are transferable to other areas of life. We have plenty of our athletes that have taken their skills into their own careers or their own life or into their own business. And likewise, ones that have deployed it for their team and their staff and whoever is working for them. Anyways, before we get started, I want you guys to just get on board with the idea of challenging your beliefs. Be open-minded here. You know, it can be easy to think it doesn't work or it doesn't work for you, and that's okay. I just want you to get on board with the idea of challenging your current approach to mindset. Patience as well. This isn't going to be something that you're going to be good at instantly. You know, going from an 8-minute 2K to a 7-minute 2K takes time. Yet with mindset, because it's so elusive, we think we can make that same jump by doing one or two of these sessions. Just always questioning your kind of beliefs, always questioning, always thinking and analyzing. The same way you go out in a session and you go, oh, was that stroke good? Was that stroke bad? Did I work on this thing? Did I work on that thing? What could be better? You want to have the same thing with the way that you use your thoughts and the way you view your training. As I said, why? So that you can have more fun, so that you can row faster, and so that you can learn transferable skills. It's the truth. Obviously, it's great making a boat go quick, and there's no denying that is just an intrinsically fun thing to do. Mindset's the real area where you can take stuff and apply it to other areas of life. And I know I now have founded a rowing coaching business, so it's very similar to my rowing career, but so many of the skills I had to learn doing this are so different to rowing, and so many of them were aided by the mindset training I did while I was training. And yeah, also just a bit of background, like me, my mindset was really bad. Was really, 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 really bad. And the massive thing that was holding me back from about 2014 to 2017 was just, constantly doubting myself, never able to push hard enough, always put off by distractions. Anytime it was windy, I would throw in the towel. Just didn't believe I could hit the speeds I wanted to. So it was through the methods that I'm going to break down in this video that I was able to do them. And back then, that was more trial and error from my part. And with our coaching systems now, we've systemized it and formalized it so that you can get it right every time, and you can do it quickly. And with elite rowers, they develop these skills through years and years and years of trial and error, and 9 times out of 10, it's not intentional. They're not intentionally trying to improve these areas. It's just a case of exposure that they develop these skills. This stuff is designed so that you can go into this method, run through the steps, and make those mindset changes in a fraction of the time that it would take if you're doing this on your own. So, first one is racking. So what does racking mean? It's basically just how do you handle external factors. So external factors are things like wind, opponents, how you feel, how nervous you are, things that you can't control, your splits. It can also be technical cues as well. So sometimes people say, oh, I'm going to focus on my controllables. I'm going to focus on having clean finishes. Well, that's not a controllable. You can't control how clean your finish is. You can only control the movements that get you a clean finish. So sometimes when people struggle with things like technical cues, it's because they're focusing on an outcome and not actually, they're focusing on an outcome, they're focusing on an external factor, but not focusing on controllables, the things that actually, are doable. So controllables are things like mental cues, technical focuses, and just how you prepare for a race or a training session. Technical cues, when we say technical cues, again, it's not finishes, clean finishes. It's not balanced boat. It's not good catches. It's, squaring at this point. It's taking the blade out in this way. It's making this motion with my hands. It's thinking about relaxing this part of my body here. It's about sequencing my body in this way. Those are controllables. And external factors, the uncontrollables, are the ones that cause issues and take your attention away from what matters. And what we want to do with racking is improve your ability to get distracted by an external factor and then refocus onto something that you can control. So the plan is, again, good focus is not about never getting distracted. Oh, fuck's sake. I did it. I was sharing the screen without showing you the slides. Anyways, I was talking you through this screen share. I can't remember if I was showing you it, but you want to look for them. External factors are things like wind, opponents, how you feel, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go back and edit this. I can't be arsed. I don't have time today. External factors for you to do. So what do you do when you get distracted for them? Again, good focus is not about never getting distracted. Good focus is about getting distracted and being able to quickly refocus onto something that you can control. So, how do you do that? First, you need to recognize when you've been distracted by something, and simply just becoming aware, you're taking that first step to get back control. You need to accept it. So you need to be okay with the fact that you've lost your attention, you've lost your thinking, you're panicking. You need to accept it. What we want to do is get your mind out of the reactive state and into the controlled, rational state. Once you've recognized and accepted, you want to have a controllable that you can direct your attention onto. And what we do not want to do is develop the specifics on how to run through this process. We want to develop the general reflex of any time you get distracted, you're able to recognize it, accept it, and have a controllable that you can direct your attention onto. So think about it like it's very hard to practice this in trading because you maybe you struggle when your competitor drops you off the start and you go, oh my God, my competitor's dropped me off my start. Oh, now my race is fucked. And then you stop rowing well or whatever. It's really hard to replicate that in training, especially if you're training on your own. So what you can replicate, however, is the process of recognizing when your attention's gone onto something else, accepting it, and then having a controllable you can direct your focus onto. An example I like to use is when I was erging in this room before I got into the GB team. I was in the last 2K of a 3x2K interval, and hardest part in the workout, an Amazon delivery came. My wife came in, Pauline. She was like, oh, hey, there's this thing you have to sign for or something. She realized, oh shit, like Jack's in the hard part of the workout. I need to step out and let him finish. And afterwards, super apologetic. So sorry for distracting you. I didn't mean it. I was like, no, that was good, because that was an opportunity where I could get distracted and practice refocusing my attention onto what I control. And obviously, that's never going to happen in a racing environment. Well, I don't think it would. But what you can do is develop that reflex of recognize, accept, control. So the good thing is when you've got this nailed, you start to crave external factors and you start to realize that they're just a chance for you to practice and get better at doing something. So, yeah. Oh, did I just get, yeah. Look for distractions. You want to find them. Look for them. So again, I'm giving a very, very brief overview here. I'm trying to cover all three in this video. When we do it, we go into far more detail and break down the steps and everything. But I want this video to be kind of like an overview of everything that we do around mindset, or the kind of three main pillars. Sparrow visualization. So Tokyo's just coming in here. Hello, come up. There we go. Tokyo's helping out with this video. When you're doing visualization, in your mind, you're basically doing the same thing when you do it in person. So if you imagine yourself throwing a ball, or when you imagine yourself throwing a ball, it's literally the same thing as throwing a ball. When it, obviously in relation to what happens in your brain. So they've done brain scans and they tested people doing this. The exact same thing happens in your mind when you imagine it and when you do it. And learning a skill like throwing a ball, or learning a tactic like pushing yourself a little bit harder or handling nerves better, is all about strengthening neural pathways in your mind. And the way that you do that is by getting reps of using those neural pathways over and over and over again. And the more detailed you can be with it, the more precise you can be, the more you're going to send those neural pathways through the ones that you want. And the really good thing about visualization is it's in a controlled environment, and you can practice doing the perfect visualization routine, the perfect race, all within the controlled environment of your mind. Two examples of, the many that we have when this has worked. I mean, one of our athletes, Anonymous, they were really struggling pushing through pain. They called it the mental thing we did. The mental thing we did was visualization, but they stopped caring about the pain. They what did they say? It was weird. I don't know if that was the fact that there were coaches were there or the adrenaline, but he felt like they could push more. Chris, another one. So Chris really struggled with the first 250 of his 2Ks, and he would really doubt himself when that first pinch of pain would come in. What we did with him is ran him through this detailed Sparrow visualization, came up with a detailed routine for him, and he did a really good job of deploying it, and he took 14 seconds off of his 2K in 2 weeks. There were a couple of technical changes, there were a couple of fitness changes, but the main thing that he did better was the way he visualized, so that when he came into the race, it was as if he was running through that same pathway of handling that nerves. And the key with visualization is you're not looking to do the perfect race where you never have any problems. Oh my God, it's so perfect. You want to purposefully visualize dealing with problems. You want to practice what is going to happen in a race. And that's another mistake I see when people have tried visualization. They've not tried going through the problems. So it can work for improving your technique, race plans, dealing with mindset struggles. So you can visualize, you can use the mindset training of visualization to improve your mindset. You can use it to improve your race day routine. If some people get really crippled with nerves, that was one thing I would really struggle with. You can use it to handle the nerves better. The process: Sparrow, setting, problem, accept, response, outcome. So wherever it is you want to create a strong visual in your mind, and it doesn't just have to be visual. I know some people struggle with creating images. So you can create, your mind. Maybe another example I could use. So another example of visualization that we can do is when people struggle with visuals, we can do these screen rehearsals where we'll make a custom pacing plan for somebody where they can practice going through the pain and the cues, or we do screen recordings sometimes of going through Google Maps of, they're going to a race, or race recordings, for example, for Head of the Charles, where recording the course of Head of the Charles to use for visualization for people that struggle with images. But generally, most people can create some sort of image. You also want to create senses in your mind. So, the sense of the wind, the smell of the place. We had a few people racing at Cascadia in Canada, and they were talking about how it smelled weird. It smelled like kind of boggy or something. I don't know. I've never been. But anyways, you want to create a strong image so that when you go to do this in person, your brain goes, right, I remember these senses when I was doing visualization. And it starts to trigger the neural pathways that you're going to use. The problem. So you want to be clear on what is the problem that you have. This person's problem is that they don't have a chain attached to the erg, but it's an AI image, okay? Give them a break. They're doing a good job. So be clear on the problem, and then you want to be clear, similar with racking, you want to accept it and be okay with the fact that has happened. And if you immediately, a way you can think about this is imagine you're walking down the street and you're having a nice relaxing walk, and then you pass this chain link fence, and all of a sudden this big dog jumps on the fence, and you kind of have that reaction. And then you realize that it's a dog behind a fence, and you keep going with your walking. It's kind of want to think about the same thing with the visualization process, where you get that fright, you get that reaction. That's normal, but you then are able to accept it and move forward. You kind of want that same problem where it's, oh my God, I really struggle with the pain in the first 250. And you just go, that's okay. That's normal. It's just pain. It's just my nerves giving me feedback from what my body's doing. That's okay. From there, you want a response. So this is where we do a lot of our work with our athletes, creating what is the response that's going to help deal. Oh, fuck's sake, I forgot to screen. Yeah. I don't remember how long I was talking without sharing the screen. But anyways, this is, you know what I mean. The response is ideally in relation to the problem. So if your problem is wind, your response wants to be a controllable that helps you deal with the wind. If it is pain in the third 500 of a 2K test, you want your response to be something that helps you push. So that could be a mental cue, that can be a technical cue that's related to the drive generally. Hopefully you get the gist. And the outcome, the most powerful point, you want to remember the outcome. You want to practice doing it perfectly. You want to think about what is it that I want to happen. You want to practice getting that, and you want to practice feeling the positive emotions that are associated with that outcome. So sometimes that could be you crush your pacing and you feel aggressive from it, or you make that technical change and it feels so satisfying. When you do visualization, you want to practice feeling those emotions, because in the same way you get addicted to social media or heroin, your body goes, oh, I got that release of dopamine or that good feeling. What did I just do that gave me that good feeling? And then in the future, your body goes, oh, right. When you get cued by this setting, your mind goes, oh, if I go and follow this process, I'm going to get these really good emotions. I'm going to get this really good feeling after I complete this process. So from there, once you have that detailed, you want to have reps and 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 reps, as many as possible. There are a few things we do to help people relax into this. When you do it, ideally you want to be loose and relaxed and sitting down. Don't do this while you're driving, but you can also do this for 5 seconds at a time, 30 seconds at a time. Normally when you do it right, it takes about 5 or 6 minutes. And like, for example, I guess you could do this on your own. What we'll do is we'll create this process for our athletes. We'll go on a call. We'll talk them through. We'll guide them through the visualization, describing the setting, describing the problem, the acceptance, the response, the outcome, and then record it and send it to them, and they can listen to it. So maybe you could do the same thing where you try to, record it yourself and play it back to yourself and listen to it. Tactical failing, but hold on. Let's have a hydration break, everybody. What's the point in mastering your mindset if you're not even hydrated? So if you've not got a drink, pause the video and come back. Okay, you're back. Cheers. I'll try not to do it into the mic so you can hear me gulping. I did that on a video once and I played it back and I was like, that was disgusting. Tactical failing. So it's the process of failing on purpose so that we can practice it with our athletes, some examples of what worked. One of our anonymous athletes, they were stuck at a plateau for a really long time. We did the tactical failing. I think they took like 20 seconds off of their 2K. A master's athlete as well. Like they've been training. It's not just like they were a beginner. They had been training for years and years. Brett, again, this is the POG stuff. This is the kind of specifics of our steps. But, through doing this, they massively exceeded their own expectations. They went 139 for the first 6 minutes, and then they did it again, and they got to totally smash. They thought they could only get 6 minutes at a 139. The next time they got 9 minutes at a 139. And again, this is part of the process here. But yeah, massive improvements. Laura, again, improved her 30 rate 20 without getting faster, just improving her mind. Took 2.2 splits off of it, and I think about a couple weeks. So yeah, again, this is just using your mind in a more efficient way to get more of your potential out. And it just makes it more fun as well. It just gives you more variation when you're in your training rather than just get on the erg, row, pull hard, do low intensity, work on that technical thing I've been working. It's all new ways that you can train and really maximize the limited amount of training time that you have. It's just, this is stuff it doesn't take more time doing this. It's like you're just making sure every second in your session is maximized. So we want to reframe failure. We want to think about, okay, like this is about good pacing is about knowing where your limit is and getting as close to that limit as possible and staying there for as long as possible. So if you can create failure in training, if you can practice crossing that line in training, you're getting a clearer picture of where that line is, and as a result, you can get closer to it when you do racing. What it also does is it builds a positive association with failure. Similar to distractions, you learn to crave pain, crave failure, and really reframe the way that you view it. So if you think about your limit as a line, and good pacing is about getting as close to that line and staying there for as long as possible. In order to do that, you need to have a very clear idea of where exactly is your line. Right now, just as an example, your line, say, is covered in dirt. And with tactical failing, what you can do is every time you cross that line, you're brushing more of that dirt off until you have a very clear idea of where this line is. Now, when you have a brain, in your brain, there is the prefrontal cortex. So the part of your brain that is responsible for rational thoughts. So we can sit here in a relaxed, calm position, use our prefrontal cortex to go, right, we know pain is good. Pain is a symptom of going fast. I know that. Why am I so afraid of it in the moment when I go to race? Why can't I just think, oh, right, pain is so good. Like, why don't I just keep pushing for pain and I'll go faster? The problem is the primitive part of your mind, the amygdala, and the brainstem, I believe, is a very simple part of your brain. It's responsible for all the primitive needs. So shelter, food, kind of relationships as well. And it wants to save energy as much as possible. So when you get into a race situation, when you're stressed, when you're working hard, this part of your brain really, 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 really wakes up and goes, hey, whoa, what are you doing? Slow down there. That's too hard. And you're trying to listen to this guy or this gal, and they're not playing ball. They're just, no, I don't like the amygdala. I'm scared of him. Or so this is you when you race. You can think about this like blood flow, which is literally what happens. You have blood flow going to these areas. It's redirected from here and it goes to here. When you do tactical failing, basically what we're also trying to do is practice sending attention, from here to there. That's the process. We want to stop. We want to get into the situation where you're dealing with pain so you can send your attention towards your prefrontal cortex so you can be more focused when you're pushing. So how do you do this? Pick a high intensity session. We like the 30-rate-20. There are plenty of other ones you can do. Depending on what you're trying to prepare for, you may want a different one. Decide what pace is too fast. Decide how long you will do that pace for. The first step, we have a 4-step method where you pick an over target pace, you do it for achievable amount of time. The second step, you pick an over target pace, you go into you fail, and then you note down where it is you fail. The third step, you aim to go at that over target pace until that point of growth or that failure point. And then when you get to that point, you need to have a strategy for what you're going to do when you get there again. But again, we want to reframe that the objective here is to fail. When you fail, you need to tell yourself it's good, and then you need to do it again. Is that the same slide? Is that basically... I can't remember. I made these slides ages ago. Yeah, I think that is basically the same idea. So, like and subscribe. I've just given you a bunch of free shit for free. A lot of people that watch these videos aren't even subscribed. Oh my God, it's so annoying. I don't actually care that much. I'm still going to be making these videos. But if you want to see more of these videos, if you like the mindset stuff rather than the technical stuff, let me know. And yeah, all the best. Oh yeah, like and subscribe or else.